Hello everyone, and this is my review for WWE Smackdown on February 21st, 2017. And, well, this show is one of those mixed bag shows. It almost feels like a Raw usually goes. It's like a little bit of a mixed bag. You get some really good moments, and you get some not so really good moments. The show didn't feel like it fully flowed through the entire thing. It wasn't like one... Like, you've seen a lot of really good SmackDowns that they just, the whole show flows. You can't really say anything bad about it. You can in this one. So we'll go ahead and just start off with what they started with the show, which was Daniel Bryan coming out. He calls out Naomi, and they basically say that Naomi's injury is to an extent that she's not able to defend her title within the 30-day allotment, which, they bring that rule out when it best conveniences them to go along with everything, and that she had to relinquish the SmackDown Women's title. Now, here's the I make the joke about them bringing out that rule when it best conveniences them, but the promos that both Daniel Bryan and Naomi were really good. I like the aspect of how Daniel Bryan conveys that he's been in this situation. He knows how this feels. He doesn't necessarily like doing it, but he has to do it in the end. And Naomi's promo also came off rather well. Of course, being babyface to the point of, it's like, I'm going to come back for this title, everything in that sense. But the way she contrived and the way that she came off of it, you could tell the emotion was there. And that was the aspect. She was able to convey the emotion about having to get rid of to relinquish the title and have to come back and try to fight for it again. So both of them cut really good promos in this sense, and I ended up liking what they were doing there. This does bring out Alexa Bliss, who wants Daniel Bryan to just give her the title, considering which makes a little bit of sense since she was the last champion and she was the #1 contender. But Daniel Bryan was like, we don't do things that way here. We're going to make a match. And he puts Alexa Bliss in against Becky Lynch. Now, this match between Becky Lynch and Alexa was an alright match. It wasn't anything special, honestly, between the two of them. It's kind of what you've seen before between the two of the women. And the ending came off probably the way most people wouldn't really expect them to have that match come off. They would have expected like a Mickie James interruption or something in that sense. You do get something with Mickie and Becky after the match, but the match ends with like a jab to the throat and then a roll up with Alexa Bliss pulling the tights to get the win. So, like I said, the match itself was alright. It wasn't great. It wasn't really that good. But it did what it needed to do. And yeah, it was one of those bits that it just didn't really come off all that well in the end. Up next to talk about, they had a bunch of promos throughout the entire night with all the superstars with the exception of Cena. He did not get one of these promos, and kind of what you would consider almost like an old style promo set with everyone talking about the Battle Royal later that night. There's a couple good ones in there and a couple like pretty horrendous ones to go along with it. And there were some alright ones. Kalisto's promo was okay. What was it? Dean Ambrose's promo I thought was pretty good. Right at the beginning, he was kind of like in the bowels of the arena, almost old Shield style, with the exception they don't have like a handy cam on them at that time. I liked AJ Styles' promo just because it felt like they were just following him and he was just randomly talking about the Battle Royal and talking to like one random person to go along with it. It came off rather well. Mojo Rawley's actually came off a little bit different than what you would typically expect. It's like usually he's in like this hype style at all times, but this time he was in a more intense mode for this promo. So it came off rather well on that side. You saw a different little bit with Mojo Rawley. Ones that I Oh, one that I really liked. I liked the one with Luke Harper about talking about how he used to follow Bray and how he had broken free from that, and now is obviously going after Bray Wyatt and Randy Orton at this time. I thought that too. I thought those promos came off rather well. The one that just it boggles my mind that they went with it. They went with this, or it just didn't look good at all. Was Dolph Ziggler's promo. So you have this green screen that has his logo in the background. Old WWF promos where they're just cutting a promo and they're behind a green screen, their logos there and everything. It's kind of like that, and he's talking about how he's going to take out the new era and everything in that sense, how no one can replace him, and if someone does replace him, he kicks the portion of the green screen, and it just, instead of like falling backwards or anything, it just like it kind of crunks and then just falls, and it just looked horrendous because I don't know, it just did not come off looking all that well in the end. I didn't really, and like the promo itself kind of conveys where the Dolph Ziggler character is going, but that aspect of using the green screen and everything to it just did not come off all that well in any way, shape, or form. So it just, yeah, it was one of those moments. But yeah, they had promos with everybody with the exception of Cena. I can't remember all of them off the top of my head right now. But yeah, some of them were good, some of them were bad, and that's how it goes sometimes, I guess, in that sense. Up next was Breezango going up against American Alpha. American Alpha win this match rather quickly. Nothing much to this match at all. At least they have Breezango try to gain the advantage right off the bat. But American Alpha quickly switches everything and ends out winning the match. The bit afterwards was the Usos promo on American Alpha, and they cut a great promo. I enjoyed this promo so much. It came off so well in every way. They conveyed the intensity that they were wanting to get about the entire the aspect of going after American Alpha, even conveying themselves to almost like what was it? They were trying to convey themselves as like when you guys, like, they were trying to say whenever they fell asleep at night and could not do it, it was the aspect that is like, no, this is not like paranoia or anything, it's just us. And they were trying to go almost a little bit horror to go along with it. I like this promo. I like the intensity that they cut on, that they went with it, and it came off just really good. And it'll be good to see a program between these two teams, because I feel like these two can put on a really good match. Up next were a couple promos from Natalya and Nikki Bella about the Falls Count Anywhere matches. I thought these promos were all right. They weren't bad by any stretch of the imagination. They weren't great, though, but they came off rather well in the end. And it did convey the aspect that both of these women don't like each other and everything in that sense. And it really came off. It came off what they needed to do going into the Falls Count Anywhere match. Which brings us to that Falls Count Anywhere match. And this was a good match. This was a really good match between the two of them. They had put on a really good match at the pay-per-view, and they put on a pretty good Falls Count Anywhere match here. And this is where they continue on building the stories between where they're going with Nikki Bella going into WrestleMania to go along with it. Who knows if they're going to do anything with Natalya? You figure they should at this point, but who knows if they're going to actually do that in any way, shape, or form. At the end of the match, which, like I said, they put on some pretty good spots throughout the entire match, using tables and weapons and everything to go along with it. Also, they had like a backstage moment where Natalya throws Nikki Bella into Maurice, and then also a really good spot set up where Nikki throws Natalya through like a mirror and just shatters, goes everywhere. And they set up for the finish where Nikki looks like she's about to get the tap out on the rampway, but Maurice comes back out and starts hitting Nikki with one of like the little setup pipes for the curtains or something in that sense. I think they try to convey it off as a lead pipe, but it was one of the curtain stands or something in that sense that they had backstage, and allowed Natalya to pick up the victory. I liked where they went with this, and I also liked the aspect that I don't know why they had Miz come out at that point while the match was still going on, but like they could have done something like that after the match where Miz comes out and tries to stop Maurice from hitting Nikki anymore. But you have the aspect that they're beginning this whole thing where you have the rumored match between Nikki Bella and John Cena versus Miz and Maurice and some kind of mixed tag or something in that sense. And they convey that point more in the Battle Royal, which they did a good job in this Battle Royal. With the exception of the ending. They did a really good job with this Battle Royal of telling stories and furthering stories and everything in that sense. You have the aspect of Baron Corbin and Dean Ambrose. Ambrose eliminates Corbin in the match, but Corbin immediately attacks Dean again, so continuing on their storyline. You have storylines continuing on with the whole thing with Dolph Ziggler and Kalisto and Apollo Crews to go along with it. Both of them, like, this match was doing a good job of conveying different stories and everything in that sense. And that's, like I said, this is where they came up with continuing on building the story between Cena and Nikki versus Miz and Maurice, because Cena eliminates Miz, but eventually Miz comes in and just comes back in and eliminates Cena to go along with it. And I thought it was a good way of going. It's a good way of setting up that match going forward. So this brings to the finish. After Dean Ambrose comes back in, eventually gets eliminated because he had ate the end of days on the outside. It was down to Luke Harper and AJ Styles, and the two of them fought for a good chunk of time, and they did a good job of teasing the whole aspect of one person's about to fall out, the other person's about to fall out, and that they were teasing the aspect of who's gonna win the match. This is where they came to the finish, and they do catch it on camera as well, and I think they can try. Most people feel like it's a botch, and I think it kind of was botched. They were supposed to kind of hit at the same time, but it's pretty clear that AJ hit first before Luke Harper does. So they were trying to convey an aspect of it being that they tied the match. Now, I guess they could write it off as an aspect, well, both guys have to, the guy who was supposed to be last in the ring has to be able to get back in the ring before hitting the ground, which Luke Harper technically didn't do, but technically AJ hit first, and they've gone by that rule so many times in the past, but they could have gone with this rule or something in that sense, because I've seen it where I've seen battle royals where you have both superstars fighting on the on the ring apron area for the last elimination, and they won't ring the bell until the other person gets back in the ring, or something in that sense. So they have two different rules that they could go with. Consistency is what they need to go with here, but they don't determine a winner, and they said that next week we will determine the winner of the match, or the number one contender for the WWE Championship. So it left a lot of people confused in the end, and I think they could have. It would have probably served them a little bit better to maybe just have Luke Harper win this, and then go on with the storyline between Harper and Harper, Bray, and maybe having Orton go in there to make it a triple threat, because you feel like Harper just fits into this storyline to go along with everything. And since you have the whole aspect of like Orton saying that he won't fight Bray by himself, but now you have Luke Harper in there, so Orton's going to want to get in there to make it a triple threat so he can help protect Bray, and it could come off rather well in the end. Well, I mean, we'll see where everything goes with it, but that ending to the Battle Royal just, it leaves you, like, everybody kind of, what's going on? Was it botched? Was it this? Was it that? And I guess we'll just find out next week with what they decide to go with here. But overall, this week's SmackDown was, it had some good stuff on it. Like, the Battle Royal, for the most part, outside the ending, was good. The Nikki Bella Natalya match was rather good to go along with it. But otherwise, it was kind of a mixed bag SmackDown this week. Some of those promos that they had for the Battle Royal were just atrocious. Some of them came off decent. Some of them came off good, but there was a good chunk of them that came off just bad to go along with it. So yeah, that's pretty much all I've got. Everything for SmackDown this week. So that is my review for WWE Smackdown. I thank you guys for watching, and I hope you have a great day.